Hey guys, what's up? It's Matt, and today I'm taking a look at Redragon's Noctis Pro keyboard. The Noctis Pro is a sleek keyboard where slim form factor meets quality-filled build, and it utilizes low-profile switches. In the box is the Noctis Pro keyboard, a USB Type-C, L input, or elbow shape if you will, to USB Type-A. So this is pretty cool too, that the USB header is a Type-A or Type-C with a detachable head part right there, so you can swap to Type-C if you'd like. The Type-C is going to be located on the left side, which is why that L input makes a lot of sense to me, so they can go straight back behind the computer desk. You also get a switch puller and a keycap puller, and some spare low-profile switches, red switches in my case. With Redragon working hard to keep rolling out their own lineup of customized switches, I was a little sad not to see something a little more uniquely part of their family line of mechanical switches, though I'm sure they probably haven't endeavored too much for the low-profile ones. But we need to talk about these switches in a moment, and I will. Now, in case you're wondering what these switches sound like, let's pause here and do a quick sound test. These are the low-profile red switches that I have on mine, and this is what they sound like. The bottom of the chassis is a plastic construction with two rubberized riser feet in the back, and in the front you've got two static rubber feet with drain holes that will hopefully never have to be used, but it's good that they're there just in case you spill in there. Hopefully it'll be able to drain out and not cause damage to the keyboard. Near the rear riser feet is a switch toggle for enter wireless Bluetooth mode, and next to that is the 2.4 GHz dongle. It's always nice to have storage for those on the keyboard. The top side of the chassis is a black brushed aluminum, and above the switch keys are the G1 through 4 and the MR for macro record, and to the right of those are soft rubber keys that function as independent media controls as well as a volume wheel. The far right rubber dome is actually one that you can toggle between the light and the audio, so if you wanted to swap it so you can adjust the brightness of your lights, you can do that, or you can tap it and go back to the volume control on your PC. Most basic controls are to be had using function 1 plus the corresponding keys, which thankfully are labeled on this keyboard. The keyboard can be linked to multiple Bluetooth frequencies, and using function 1 plus Q, W, or E can swap between these different Bluetooth profiles that are linked to different devices presumably. Using function 1 plus R enables 2.4 GHz, and T if you want to go connected to USB. The keyboard chassis does allow for swapping keycaps, but it is notable that the standard keycaps are going to be a little bit taller, so depressing all the way down to the actual chassis itself is what's going to happen. It changes the sound of the keys a little bit, but it's totally doable. Now, as far as the switches, the fittings for the prongs on the bottom of the keyboard, they are 3-prong low-profile switches. These are going to be a little more proprietary. You can't just use any mechanical switch to swap those, because standard mechanical switches are going to have a larger gap between the prong fittings, which means if you try to put them in there, you're just going to end up damaging switches because they will not fit where the holes are for the allocated switches. That may be important to know if you're thinking about getting this. It is hot swappable, but if you try to swap it with standard key switches, it's just not going to work. When the keyboard is charging, the LED indicator will illuminate to let you know it is charging. When it's fully charged, the LED indicator goes away. When the battery gets low on these, the battery LED indicator will be lit to indicate the low power status. Battery will largely be dependent on the settings and mode of use. So if you're using Bluetooth versus 2.4, if the brightness of your lights is all the way on versus all the way off, and the frequency of the use, it just really depends. I can get several days out of it with moderate use on the 2.4 GHz, but ultimately I prefer to be direct line in anyways with my keyboard. Pretty much all of the keyboard controls can be handled easily on board on the keyboard itself, but as the last familiar note, the Redragon software offers ease of use and control for lighting and features, as well as more advanced macro ability and reprogrammability. It's a pretty sweet little keyboard, but a little more difficult to get behind in terms of upgradability if that's something that you're looking into. With these proprietary 3-prong low-profile switches, swappable yes, large range of compatibility no. This was a quick overview of the Noctis Pro. I hope it was somewhat helpful and useful to you. You guys have a great day, night, whatever it is, and I'll see you in the next video that I do.